Oh, hello. I'm Grant Faber. It is a little after 4 in the morning, and I just wanted to make one final plea to the court of public opinion. You see, in a few hours, I've got to go to court in Hempstead, Nassau County, and I'm probably going to get locked in Pilgrim State Psychiatric Facility if my lawyer is to be believed. A psychiatric evaluation that I had deemed me unfit to stand trial, so we'll see how that goes. Apparently, Nassau County PD has been trying to arrest me for more of the same contempt of court and stalking for the last couple of months. They've been unsuccessful.
Hey, Grant, Detective Blackmore again.
Hi, did you have a chance to look at the website?
I'm on the website.
Okay, so where it says proof it's her, yeah.
But
She,
what date am I looking at? There's a lot of dates.
I think, well, somebody pull it up at the same time as you. GrantFaber.org. Do you know Detective Whalen?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you had a chance to talk to him?
No, we don't. I don't
Well,
have the pleasure of
I
working
tell
with
you what,
him. We
Detective
work
Blackman,
at different days.
back in
hmm
January, Detective Whalen called me up one day and said that all these threatening text messages that I've been getting were actually coming from my close friend in Colorado. He vehemently
Okay.
denies this.
Okay.
So it only occurs to me. He said it's because of internet reports that he received from where, from Precision Painting Plus.
But what does that have to do with what I'm calling you about?
Because lies are being told here about me, and
Unfortunately, that's going to have to be.
you
That's
all are
going to have to go
facilitating
through
that.
the courts.
Sorry.
That's going to have to be determined through the courts.
Yeah, well, you know what? I called Garden City PD back in November or
hmm
December. That's on the website too, under the section police reports.
Okay.
Pia was texting me death threats, threats to frame me for possession of child pornography. So I called the police long before any of this started, but somehow she gets preference or deference from you all.
Well, I don't know anything about what
I
you're
know
referring
because you all
to.
play ignorant. You all play ignorant about what's going on here. I can't get the website to load at all. If you look under proof it's her and who are they, there are images of the messages that he has sent me all last fall. They are terroristic. All I'm guilty of is trying to call attention to who she is and what she's involved with, which is the federal government, and you know it. Detective Hausman knows it. Detective Whalen knows it.
Okay.
All right? This is
So you
This is unconstitutional, and you all are involved, and you don't care because is a Fed, right?
I've never talked to her.
Okay. Well, I tell you who has Detective Whalen, because he
Okay.
accepted a forged IP report from her trying to claim that my friend Nathaniel Richardson was involved with these threatening text messages. He went straight to Denver PD out in Colorado and wrote a written affidavit saying he has no idea what's going on. What does that tell you?
Okay.
If someone in your organization accepted an internet report, an IP report from someone as fact, who the only people that could submit such a report? Federal government, right?
Sure.
Okay, so talk to Detective Whalen and then call me back. I'm not running, but I'm also not going to just give up. So this all started because my ex, whose name I cannot mention, but is revealed on grantfaber.org in the section titled Proof It's Her. My deep state ex works for a company called Precision Painting Plus. It's a shell or a front for some kind of clandestine organization, a deep state concern, probably the FBI. And I only say that because I've complained about the harassing death threats, threats to frame me as a pedophile with possession of disgusting things. Those explicit threats that were coming in via text, I complained to the FBI about all that in writing and online a couple of times last fall, and I went there a few weeks ago. Never heard back for some strange reason, because they're with Precision Painting Plus. They're one and the same. Their checks are both signed by the federal government, by our tax dollars. They're paid through by our tax dollars. So, because my deep state ex has these federal powers, she's used that to manipulate Nassau County Police Department and the Nassau County District Attorney. She also perjured herself in Nassau County Family Court before the Honorable Judge Sigal Blakeman, who is the wife of Nassau County Administrator Bruce Blakeman. She skewed facts. Her lawyers submitted phony written testimony, and I know that she sent herself threatening messages purporting to come from me. She presented that as fact in the court, when in reality, I have never once threatened this person with any violence, physical harm. I threatened to expose who she is and what she's involved with because she wants to make things difficult for me. But I have never threatened to harm this person. I would never harm this person. I'm not a violent person. So go to grantfaber.org/perjury and you'll see some of the evidence there just to show that, yeah, she was messaging herself these threats. Now, when we went to family court, I had made 2 or 3 appearances before I finally got a lawyer. And on that day when they were going to sentence me, put in a judgment, I had to demand an attorney in accordance with my constitutional rights. They pulled somebody in from the hallway who was completely unfamiliar with the situation. They wanted to make this go away. I think the judge even used the phrase he was going to let it turn into a circus, something like that. I had poor representation in Nassau County Family Court, and this person, she perjured herself. But in reality, medical professionals, psychiatrists, have twice labeled me a stalking victim. Now, as you may know, and you can certainly see them all on grantfaber.org, I've received a litany, hundreds, thousands of threatening text messages going back to, the first ones came through back in May of 2024, purporting to be from my mother, saying I was molested as a child. Up to, it was back in December, about December 20th of 2024, was the last day that this other person, who I eventually came to realize is my deep state ex, based on information only she would have, and anger and a grudge that only she would have. All last fall, I realized these messages were coming from her. So the first time a medical professional labeled me the stalking victim was back in May of 24. I showed her, the doctor, I can't remember who it was, but I showed them the messages that had come in. They weren't coming in real time at that point, but they were earlier that evening. We're going to kick in your door, get ready to go to jail, you're going to die, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'll play the video of me logged into the medical app where it shows Grant Faber, diagnosis, stalking victim, also, with my other psychiatric whatevers. I'm not convinced on that. And then again, last November of 24, one night I was getting very explicit death threats via text, and I was out and about. So before I came home, I walked up to a police officer, an NYPD officer in downtown Flushing, and showed him those messages, and he agreed, it's not safe for you to go home. Why don't you spend the night again in Jamaica Hospital? So I went there, talked to the psychiatric staff, and they came to the same conclusion that their staff had come to the past May, which is me stalking victim, and they discharged me the next day. I went home in the daylight, and obviously nothing's ever come of this. It's a campaign of psychological, psychiatric, whatever terror, other than the criminal nonsense that's going on. They haven't. They've come into my place of business. I've got proof of that, but I'm here to tell you about all this. So thank God for that. So those are the text messages that led to the diagnosis of me being a stalking victim. There have also been hundreds of phone calls as late as yesterday evening. They almost all come from unknown, meaning blank phone numbers. Last week, a few of them came from real phone numbers, and last week, a few text messages came in. It's been a drought of text messages. I haven't received many between December of 24 up to last week. But last week, one of the messages came through. It said, asked me if I had time to talk, and I was sleeping. I missed it. An hour later, I texted back, tried to call that number back, disconnected, not in service. Okay, great. My deep state ex would like you to believe that I've been the one initiating all these calls and messages. Unfortunately, on at least 2 occasions, That's observed to have been false. The first time was on December 2nd of 2024, while I was at work at the Garden City Hotel. I was working the late shift, the evening shift. I knew I was going to have to get out of work later on and walk alone home in the darkness. And this person was saying, "I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you." And I'm afraid he's a pederast and all this other stuff. So I took action. I didn't call 911. I had the direct number to Detective Madden at Garden City PD. So I called him up. He also works evenings, and told him what was going on. They sent a couple of cruisers by. The officers observed the messages and phone calls rolling into my phone as I stood there at the front desk at work, my hands up in the air, showing them this isn't coming from me. So it was officially documented in a police report back on December 2nd, 2024, that the messages weren't coming from me. Then again, last July 4th, while I was filming another video, because now for at least the last month or so, every time I get a ominous unknown phone call coming in, it's always been silence except for last night. Every time those calls come in, I start filming and I make a record of it. So on July 4th, I got one of those calls. I was in the middle of filming, and I'll do a monologue, a diatribe to the screen with the phone in my hand, showing the anonymous or the unknown phone call in progress with the counter ticking up as I tell my deep state ex the things that I want to tell her. So while it was happening, at one point, the call was disconnected, and then immediately, like moments, seconds later, another anonymous call comes in I'm not crazy. So what's to be done? I can't hear you. What's to be done? Oh, they hung up. Oh, they're calling back. Do you see any phones? I'm not calling myself. Hello, beautiful. Last night, again, I received an anonymous phone call. Now, this one actually had a little bit of noise. I guess she forgot to mute her speaker, because you could hear the other person at the other end of the line kind of lift the phone up, set it down before they disconnect the call. Hello, this is Grant Faber. I could hear you shuffling. Aw, they hung up. They hung up. All that is to say, I am the stalking victim. This is illegal, it's unconstitutional, and I may be going to the psych ward today. I'm not going to stop banging the drum about what has happened here. This person has gotten me fired from 2 jobs based on destabilizing me when I was working for Ambridge, saying I was going to go to jail because I was employing undocumented migrants, even though I called ICE and then was later fired for it. And then that police call back on December 2nd of 2024 when I was at the Garden City Hotel, I got fired for calling the police because I was getting death threats. At that point, I was new at the hotel. I was trying not to make waves in terms of performance, grievances, following the rules. I figure reporting death threats is in line with what's good and right and decent in this country. I was wrong. Garden City Hotel fired me for that. So we got problems here. I'll see. This is kind of a fluid video, meaning I'm, racing against time almost. I've got to go to court here in a few hours. If I can think of other stuff, and I do have another thing I want to mention, I will. I'll tack it on to the end of the video. Hopefully, if I have time. I'm Grant Faber, and this is Not Okay.